What is going on, guys? I am Lou Betya back with another episode of Props to Consider and Then Maybe Bet. We continued our streak last week of hitting one prop a week. Of course, last week there were only two props since the Josh Quinlan fight got postponed, as did the Gutierrez fight. Lost on the battle submission. Never had a chance, I guess. Won on Spivak round 2. So this week I have 8 fights that I have props on. I'd like to hit 8, but let's see what we can do. And I'm kind of all over the place with this one, but let's start with one of the fights that we had last week, Josh Quinlan and Jason Witt. Nothing has changed for me here. Last week I gave away Josh Quinlan round 2 knockout, thinking that maybe Witt gets some ground game going in the first round, but much like his previous fight starts second round, he's standing up, gets knocked out. Quinlan round 2 hanging at plus 550. A lot of books do not have this yet. I expect it to be about plus 500 either way on any of the books that you're going to check out. Next prop that I like, this is a little bit of a low one, but Ode Osborne against Tyson Nam. Tyson Nam, pretty old for fighting at 125. I don't question his durability. His durability has been pretty good his whole career. What I do question is why his output is still so low and he doesn't make adjustments in fights. I'm not convinced Osborne has great cardio going late in fights, but I don't think it's going to matter here. I think he's going to maybe mix in some takedowns here and there, a lot of volume early. If it gets to the third round, as long as he stays somewhat defensively responsible, I don't see him losing this fight. But I don't think he gets Nam out of there. So last time Osborne fought, I was in the submission prop and he won by knockout in like a minute. I'm not falling for this trap again. Also, this number is not good enough for me for something he hasn't really shown he wants to do on the UFC level. So I'm playing Ode Osborne by decision. It's plus 215 right here. Some other books have it at plus 220. See some plus 240s hanging out there at Betway and Bet365. But I think Ode wins a very comfortable decision here. Again, as long as he stays defensively responsible, as his cardio starts to wane, Nam's still capable of a big shot, but with his low output, I just don't see it really happening in this fight. So let's move on to the third fight that I have a prop on. Angela Hill against Lupe Godinez. I know that Hill is the queen of losing decisions. I understand that, but if you watch Godinez's last fight against Carnelossi, I mean, a different ref could have stopped that fight in the third. That was utter domination. Those were 10-8 rounds, and only I don't know why it wasn't stopped, to be completely honest. I know people were on the Godinez round 3 prop there. I am going to go back to the well here. I am going to play Godinez in the distance at plus 350. I'm not going to get cute with the KO or the sub. I do think ground and pound is live there. I think the sub is probably live. But I think that Hill's cardio late in fights is a bit overrated. I mean, you look at the Lemos fight. Lemos's cardio is just not great late. So Hill's looked great. But I think Godinez is going to get takedowns early and often, and as much as she wants, and she's really going to sap the tank of Hill. And I think the finish is going to be live late. So give me Godinez in the distance of plus 350, and I'm going to play the round 3 prop, which is plus 1,600. Sitting at plus 1,900 on FanDuel, which is pretty nice as well. So let us move on to the fourth fight that I have a prop on. And it is not this one, although last week I did give away Lipsky-Cachoeira clam bags. It's a Cachoeira fight. It's an auto bet. Give me the point deduction here at plus 2,000. If you have DraftKings or Betway, they offer those. But you know it's better than one yambag's plays too. And let's go right to the well, back-to-back fights. Lucas Bresky against Martin Boudet, or Budai. I have a friend named Martin Boudet. That's how he pronounces it. That's what I'm rolling with here. Boudet's last fight against Barnett, there were fouls in the third round. I don't think Bresky's that good to begin with. I think his cardio is not even a full round. He's got 3-4 minutes of cardio, and then it's going to get sloppy. And if Boudet gets him against the cage and grinds him against it, which I think is going to happen in the first round, I do think takedowns are possible. Cage grabs are possible. Low blows are very possible in this fight. And it's honestly, it's too sloppy, low-level heavyweights. So this is kind of the perfect storm for a Yambags play. So back-to-back fights of point deductions. Give me this fight, plus 2,000 point deduction. And maybe we hit back-to-back. That would be incredible. I do not advise doing a 2-team parlay on that, but that I won't discourage you from doing it. Next up, GM3 against Bruno Silva. So full disclosure, I'm on the GM3 side on this fight. I'll analyze it more tomorrow in the happy hour with Monk. But as it's a GM3 fight, I feel like the sub is an auto bet, whether or not, even if you think he gets blown out in a minute. Mearshart by sub sitting at plus 550, plus 575, plus 600 on FanDuel. Thank you, FanDuel, as always, for these. It feels like his money line. I don't know how he wins a decision here unless Silva just shows an incredible level of toughness and this fight does stay on the ground for 2 of the 3 rounds. But I think if it does, Mearshart wraps up a neck, an arm. He finds what he needs to find, and he gets him out of there with a sub. And also, much like it would be if it was a Darren Elkins fight, if it's a Mearshart fight, you also feel the need to bet round 3. So at round 3, it's plus 1,800, 1,900. The sub is a little juicier here. I think it's at plus 2,800, depending on your book. I feel like it's his winning condition. If he wins by knockout, God bless him. But there's another prop in this fight I want to point out. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen some either book mistakes or mispriced props. Last week, we had Dontel Mays round 3 sub was as high as plus 10,200 in some books. My book had it at plus 8,500. Bruno Silva round 3 submission is sitting at plus 8,000 on some books. Now, it's not that I think that Silva's live really for the sub. So I'm not trying to give out a prop that I think has 0% chance. That being said, Silva's shown he's got pretty decent cardio. If this thing hits the mat in the 3rd round, could a submission be there? Is it possible he could sub the master? It is, but it's not very likely. But even if you put it at like 1%, 1.5%, you're getting decent odds on this. And this is going to be my mispriced sub. I think it's just too high of a prop. At plus 8,000, I think you got to make a poke on this. I would even welcome the round 2 submission here at plus 5,000. I just think if you're getting a prop that pays as much as a draw for something that's got more than a 1-2% chance, with all the variance we have in these kind of fights, especially at 185, I got to take a stab at it. So give me Silva on these late round sub props as a flyer, really just playing the numbers on this one. And we will move on to not this one, but I do have props in the last 3 fights of the night. So I appreciate, by the way, if you've not seen Brady's post about him using pronouncenames.com, trying to get Jargui's name correct. It's really funny, and I would highly recommend it. But Yasmin Lucindo against Yasmin Jargui. It's tough to handicap this fight based on just what we know. There's some limited tape on Lucindo. And I'll break this fight down a little more. But the one thing I've really liked about Jargui's tape is her takedown defense is pretty good from what I've seen. And I think that's going to be Lucindo's game plan. If Lucindo gets takedowns early in this fight, it's not going to be pleasant for this bet. But I think Jargui gets her out of there with a KO. You're looking at it at plus 250. Some books have plus 310. To me, I mean, her stand-up, she's clear advantage in the stand-up. I think she's got some good power. She has 4 KO finishes, I believe, in her illustrious career to this point. And if Lucindo starts burning energy going for these takedowns early, she's going to have her hands down. If you look at some of her regional tape that we have seen, she doesn't keep her hands super high. I think Jargui is very live for the KO here. So at plus 250, it's not a huge flyer here, but I do like the play. I would say be careful with this one. Again, you have 2 people making their debut on a main card, but they are in San Diego. I think the crowd's going to be super hot for this. And I feel like this is sort of like a contender series fight in that the winner needs an impressive win to really progress their career going forward. So I'm going to play Jargui KO there. David Onama and Nate Landwehr. Now, this line is bonkers to me. I don't think Onama should be this big of a favorite. You know, I can forgive the Mason Jones loss. He came in on short notice, even though that's going to start aging kind of weird now after his last fight against Ludovic Klein. But then he fought Benitez, and he was in a lot of trouble in that fight. He only won maybe 30 seconds of that fight. Benitez was landing a lot of clean shots, but Onama showed some serious toughness in that and then came back against a guy who's starting to show that maybe the chin's going a little bit in Benitez. Last fight against Garrett Armfield, he didn't have a great first round in that either. And Armfield was coming in not in his natural weight class and on a few days' notice. So I don't think Onama should be this high of a price tag. Now, Landwehr, yeah, he's been bonked a few times, most recently by Julian Erosa, who hits like, a ton of bricks. But Landwehr, he gets out of the first round. This guy's a dog, and he's got good cardio, and he's got good volume as the fight goes on. Go look at the stats of him against Elkins. I mean, his numbers went up every single round. I like what I see from Landwehr. He's a guy that fights for your money, but I don't think he gets Onama out of there because we haven't seen Onama finished. Guy's undefeated, or he's only one loss to Mason Jones, but the guy's really tough. So Nate Landwehr at plus 235 is pretty good as it is, but Nate Landwehr decision sitting at plus 550 is very interesting to me. Onama in the distance at minus 120 is what you feel like his winning condition is if he gets the flash knockout. But honestly, if Onama doesn't get him out of there in the first, I think Landwehr takes over this fight. His cardio is great. He's good enough to make this a fight on the ground if he wants. If I were him, I would probably go to the grappling early. I know Onama showed some good grappling last fight, getting the submission. But I think Landwehr will have an advantage there, and I think he can make this a dog fight. And if he does, you want that dog ticket in the third round. So Landwehr decision at plus 550, plus 700 on FanDuel. I think Bet Rivers, actually. Very interesting play here for me that I'm going to be putting in. And then we get to the main event, Dom Cruz against Marlon Vera. Now, I'm on the Vera side. I think the line, it feels a little bit wide when you initially look at it. But that being said, I'm not sure how Cruz's path to victory to me. He wins the first round all the time. I mean, I think we know that's probably going to happen here. To me, his path to victory is either he gets takedowns going and somehow maintains top control, which I see as possible, or he just frustrates Vera for the first two, maybe 2.5 rounds to where Vera starts starting a little more reckless because he can't land anything. But realistically speaking, I think Vera gets the leg kicks going. He's going to limit Cruz's mobility. And eventually he's going to start landing kill shots on Cruz, whether it is from ground and pound, whether it's just an accumulation of leg kicks. But Cruz is going to end up being a target for him. So I think this prop is not listed on best fight odds. But if you have DraftKings or Betway with the round combos, I like Chito Vera round 3, round 4 at plus 800. Like I just mentioned, he does kind of like Peter Yan. He throws the first round away a lot of times. But I will think he'll get it going in the second. He'll start getting the leg kicks going. Round 3, the accumulation will start piling up. And sometime during round 3 or round 4, I think he gets him out of there. What I will say about this fight also to be careful with is the over-under for this fight, over 4.5 rounds is minus 200. So it's juiced to go the distance. That number very much suggests that the bookies think Cruz will get it. If they think Cruz is just going to have legendary toughness here because of his litany of work, I get it. But this is a whole different animal. And you can argue all you want about the Cejudo stoppage being quick, but we know where that fight was headed to him getting knocked out. So Vera hits a whole lot harder. He's not as fast, but his leg kicks are so much worse. And that's going to be the difference in this fight for me. So give me Chito Vera, round 3, round 4, plus 800. Just to give you guys a recap, Quinlan round 2 KO, plus 550. Ode Osborne decision, plus 220. The Boudet and the Cachoeira fight, Yambag, Clambag special. I don't get to say that often. Lupa Godinez in the distance at plus 350. And round 3, plus 1600. GM3 sub at plus 600. His round 3 sub at plus 2700. And a poke on the Silva round 2 and round 3 subs at 5,000, 8,000 respectively. Just the numbers play there. Nate Landwehr decision, plus 550 to plus 700, depending on your book. Jargui KO, plus 310. And Chito Vera, round 3, round 4, plus 800. I have been your host, Lou Betya. You can follow me at Lou Betya on Twitter. Please like and subscribe to this video. It helps us a lot here at the MMA Engine. We have great content from DFS by the Numbers, a.k.a. Brady, Uncle Wheezy, and the Monk Matician, my co-host on the Friday show here. We're all churning out lots of content for you guys, doing our best to give you guys all the betting tools you need. And that's all I got. So good luck this weekend. It's a little bit of a juicy card. Tread lightly with money lines. Hopefully let's nail some more props this week. Take care, guys.